Got a 2011 Ford Expedition, and it's definitely a love-hate relationship with this truck. The engine is the Triton 5.4. It's like 300 something horsepower, I think. I don't know, you have to look it up for all those people who are like knocking me on this stuff, but just look it up. Anyway, smooth running engine, it's great. I love it. I'm convinced that Ford knows they built a shitty, I said a bad word, but anyway, a very poor valve train, because at 111,000 miles, I had to replace all the lifters and the cam phasers because they were rattling and tapping, and the rocker arms. It's really frustrating. And now here we are at 147, and now the timing chain's talking to me. Mainly I'm making this video for the guy who has one of these trucks, an F-150, whatever it is. It's that Ford V8 overhead timing chain deal that when you start the engine, it's just clattering and clacking and all that stuff. You know, don't ignore it. And if you're mechanically inclined, it's really, I mean, it's a little bit of a tedious job, but it's not real hard. You know, people dog it out and they try to charge you $2,000 or something to change it. You know, between $1,500 and $2,000 is the total of the job, which I call a grudge purchase. God, I hate grudge purchases. Let me explain. When you bring your car somewhere and you want to get an oil change, and they come back and tell you the oil leak is $5,000 and that's what it's going to take to fix it, and you're like, damn it, just pay it. That's a grudge purchase. I'm more like the fun purchases. Like, I'm going to rebuild these carburetors and you know, it's just fun stuff. You know, the fun purchases, your restoration, resto mods, like the rest of my videos. But anyway, getting back to this thing, you know, I started to say something bad about it, but I love it. I mean, it drives smooth, it runs. I mean, you can't beat the ride of the Ford truck or Expedition, the Ford frame platform. I mean, they ride so nice and so smooth, so comfortable, great power. We, you know, used to tow our boat with this. You know, we had it since 2011. It's been fantastic. But damn the engine, you know? So I got a grudge purchase. So here's where we're at. I've already, you know, like I said a couple years ago, I already took off this and changed out all of the rocker arms, the lifters, changed out that and the cam phasers and the valve for the cam phasers. That's already been done. Now what I got to get into is I got to pull off the timing cover, which is the front of the engine, and expose the timing chain, and I need to change the timing chain guides, and the tensioners. So what I'm going to show in this video is how to do that. Well, not necessarily how to get to it, because that takes too damn long, but right now what you see is I already took off the front cover here, and I took off the air box. I took the plugs out and the coil packs, blew all that off, undid the wires and undid the valve covers. So you can, what I'm gonna do, I'm basically just gonna prop these up and I'm gonna shim it up just like that, because the timing chain cover will come out. It'll come out. And here's why I'm saying they know they designed it shitty, because it's not hard to do. So right here you think, oh my god, I gotta take all this off. But here, let me show you something that's nuts. Well, on the two-wheel drive version of this is two-wheel drive. But I'm in my garage, I'm on the floor, no jacks. Let's go underneath it. Hopefully we have enough light. Okay, so let's look underneath this guy. This, what I'm about to show you, is why I'm convinced they knew they made a crappy product, because it's easy to get to. So first of all, I didn't take off anything. Let me turn on the light, a little bit of light here. There you go. I didn't take off anything. What? Look at all that space. That is nuts. That is nuts. And for proportion, here's the impact, the whole damn impact. You can do everything from the bottom. And if you ever change the oil in your truck, you know this is all open right here. We're not talking about anything really hard. We're gonna go ahead and pull all the pulleys off, pull off the water pump. The AC isn't in the way. Get the crank sensors not in the way. The power steering pump, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to loosen that up and lean it down, and then get a puller and pull this off. A 3-jaw puller. You can get one from O'Reilly's. You know, go give them 50 bucks and bring it back as soon as you pull it off, because you don't need it to put it back on. A 3-jaw puller is basically a puller that grabs a hold of the spokes. Of course, you pull off your center nut there, grabs a hold of the spokes and just rips that thing off. And then you do have couple little bolts on the oil pan on the bottom that go up into the timing cover. Let me back up here, get out of this guy, and then we'll come back. Set you right here, and then I'll come back and get you. All right. So where we left it is, you still had all these pulleys on here, so we pulled these off. The water pump pulley, which actually after I pulled the pulley off, I could see where it's leaking, so we do need to change this. Really easy. You have these 10mm bolts. You're gonna have to hit it with a hammer. Bang, 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 bang on the side. Just kind of rock it off, because it's held on with an O-ring. Okay. The belt tensioner, took that off. 10mm, 10mm, 10mm. These are 13s on your pulleys. They're underneath it. I'll lay down there in a second and show you. So what's left, and you will need some specialty tools, is to pull off the balancer. I already pulled the nut off of the bolt off of the center, and then we're going to pull this off, and then pull off the power steering pulley. And you need a special puller for that too, which I'll show you that. I'm making this video mainly just to give you confidence, and you can do it yourself. It's not really on a level of 1 to 10, it's about a 6. And if you're mechanically inclined, this thing is nuts and bolts. There's no kind of geometry you need to figure out, no kind of tolerances or any of that kind of stuff. And I'm doing it with just regular tools. You know, these are not snap-on high dollar stuff. So you have this tool, this socket set. It's all you need. These wrenches, I'm using these for the specialty tools, which I'll show you in a second. And then also just a regular set of my helper. You have to have helpers. And then I have this regular set of wrenches right there. Here. What we have here, these specialty tools, is the power steering puller. Well, this is actually an installer set. Everybody wants to get on the comments I saw and just start writing stuff. This is the installer. We're going to use this to go back on, and it's a removal tool also, but I don't like to use this for removing the stuff because it's not as good taking it off as it is putting it on. Here is the pulley removal tool. You'll slide it, you'll get it flush first because it's on the car right now. So when I go to put this on the car, I must put it on the center. I'm going to put this collar on it, and I'm going to put the other collar on it, and then I'm going to slide this over. Then you hold it with the wrench and you turn this until it pulls the pulley off. That's pretty easy. And then this one is what you're going to need to pull off the balancer pulley. And you can rent this for like 40 bucks or whatever. So it's what you call a 3-jaw puller. It's pretty self-explanatory, right? So it's going to slide into the center, grab a hold of the spokes that you saw in the video just a second ago, and then this bolt here is going to go through the middle of it. This goes into the crank. It's going to go through the middle of this, and it's going to push the pulley right off of it, off of the crank. Next I'll bring you back to show you next we'll pick you up and show you with the timing cover off. So wait right there and I'll be right back. Okay, let's see where we are. Special tools, okay, so go right here. We use our special tools to take off the pulleys. You see they're gone now, shadows. Alright, so that's gone. We got our bolts loose on our cover here. We just pull our bolts out. Put them up here. take off our sensor. That right there. Keep all your stuff together. That's on this side. I already did that. Get this cover bolt. And the other ones are on the bottom. So on the bottom ones, I'm just gonna set those on the bottom. Top ones going up here. So I still have the bigger bolts in the corner. This one, this one, this one, and this one is a flat one down here. Right there. And then the two bottom ones, this stud right here, and then this guy. But let me show you the tools I used and how they came off. On the power steering, on your power steering, you can see we just pull this off and pull out that one bolt and just let it sit there. Now the pump can stay there, and then this will just come off of it, which you'll see in the next clip. Here's our 3-jaw puller, how it works. This shaft slides in, the jaws grab the pulley, and pull it right off. Okay? This one, I'm gonna take it off exactly how it went on. So there it is, it's on the car. All right, let me lean it. There you go. So it's on the car, we take the sleeve off. Now these jaws, they have 2 different sizes. So you'll see the bigger one here for the larger lips. These are smaller, so you're gonna use the one this one. All right, so it's gonna go on the small side. See that? Goes on the small side. Then this one goes in there. Don't get them backwards, okay? This smaller one, not the bigger one. The smaller one goes on that. And then you slide your sleeve over it to hold them. Let's try that with one hand. Okay, put the sleeve right here. One hand, put that up there, squeeze them together, slide the collar over them, hold this, turn this. This shouldn't turn, okay? This doesn't turn. This stays still, or this stays still with this. Yeah, don't pay attention to what I just said, right? This stays still, and you turn this in, it pushes, and the whole gear pulls off. All right, I have, you see my pulleys are just laying over there on the floor, right? And there's the bolt I just dropped. My center bolt in all of our room underneath here. So we have a bunch of room to get in there and do stuff. Let me set you back down. Set you back down over here, and then I'm gonna go ahead and pull these off and the bottom ones, and then I'll get the cover cracked loose, and then I'll come get you. Sit tight and I'll be right back. Are you looking right here? Oh, whoa, whoa! Ooh, that was scary. All right, we're down here. We got our bolts for our cover. The big bolts that go on the bottom, those big ones went right here. All right, don't forget to unplug your crank sensor, or else you're just going to be tugging on wires, and that's just a bad day. Oh, wait a minute. We got company. Okay, here's what we're doing, Ellie Mae. You can do it next time. Also, remember, our water pump has a little poo-poo leak right there. We need to get that. Your water pump has a freeze plug, and inside the shaft, well, we're gonna have to watch a water pump video. Okay, so here we go. Look, we took off the pulley. This bolt is just backed out, so it screws into the cover. All right, so now we took off our oil pan bolt, so now we're gonna take this thing and we're gonna pull it backwards. But let's get out first. Back up. All right, here we go. You see, there's plenty of room to work in here. All right, let's see. All right, here, hold it right there, Ellie. Let's see what we got. We got these lifted up. It's a little bit sticky. Well, I see a poo-poo problem. Let me get the seals off. We'll just pull these off so it doesn't take anything with it. And we're gonna sneak this guy out. All right. Come on, come on. So here is the front cover. Now, one thing you'll notice in this video, if you're looking at it, you could pause and look, is I didn't open any coolant lines. I didn't take off any oil lines. I didn't take off any of these oil lines here for the power steering. None of that. We're not making a big mess. We're after fixing this problem. See that? That's no bueno right there. We're trying to fix these guys. And we're gonna change, these are your tensioners. Let me set this down. This doesn't look too bad in here. Look, Ellie. This doesn't look too bad in here for, I think it's 160,000 miles or 150, something like that. I don't know exactly. But that's gonna get all cleaned up real nice. Here, let me put it right here so you don't step on it. All right, let's look.
Don't want to step on that.
No. All right, let's get down in here and take a look at what's happening. That doesn't look right. Let's see if I can reach it.
It died.
Wow, look at that.
From that thing dropped down there.
You see this? Look at that. We got pieces of the truck. Well, that's no good.
That's disgusting.
That's part of your noise. I mean, all that stuff gets down in there. It's all busted up. So we can take this off. This part of the gasket. Now we get to go spend money. So far we haven't spent any money.
Yeah.
And I'll get the receipts for it too. So we gotta go buy the tensioners.
Did oil from that thing drop under there?
Did it? Probably.
Oh.
You got any oil leaking?
No.
No, I don't think so. So we're gonna buy the guides, the chain guides, and tensioners. This has been our noise. Wow, look at that. There you go.
Can't sit on here.
That's no good.
Is it broken?
No, it's not supposed to be broken. It's supposed to be like this one over here. So that's no good. I'm glad I didn't wait any longer. I'm telling you guys, listen, when your truck is talking to you, you better listen to it. Because what it's telling you is, it's, hey, I'm gonna leave you busted down on the side of the road and then I'm gonna blow up your valves. So you hear clitter clatter, that just means I'm gonna leave you stuck and worthless. Right now, we'll find out exactly here in a minute how much this is gonna cost besides your own time. You know, I'd rather be doing something else on the weekend than this, but at the same time, if you're mechanically inclined, you can save yourself, you know, $1,000, $1,500 doing it yourself and get a little bit of satisfaction out of it. Let's go underneath there and look at it from the bottom.
There's oil now.
What? No, there's no oil. Look, it didn't leak out anything. No, look. See that? Is that awesome?
Okay, go.
See? Pretty clean. Okay, let's get down here.
Oh, look, Daddy says Jesus right
And if you're doing it, if you're doing it on the, wipe it up. If you're doing it at your house, throw a piece of cardboard down. If you don't want to squat down, get a jack it up. It's easy. When you go to a shop, they're gonna tell you we got to take the oil pan down, the valve covers, all that stuff. Oh, did you see? You notice the gaskets that I took off are brown, and these are blue up here on the valve cover. And I've already changed these guys, the cam phasers. I changed those already. Let's go get the new parts and then get back to it. We'll see you in a minute. All right. We're back under here, went to the auto parts store, got our parts. I'm looking at something. Now, first thing you need to do when you bring your parts back is you need to match them up because they are different on each side. This busted one that's missing, so they also have a stamp on them. You can barely see it if right there it says right and left. Anytime you're working on a car and you don't have a lot of experience with the car stuff, the reference right side and left side, you can say driver's side, passenger side, but the correct reference is the driver's point of view. Which way is the car facing? It's moving forward, so you're sitting in the driver's seat, then your right side is going to be the passenger side on American cars. So let's look at our parts, see what we have. Let's get out from under here. Alright, here's our parts. So we need to match them up, which I already did. And whenever you pull out your parts, leave them in the same box. In case you grab the wrong stuff, get underneath there and match it up. I already matched them up for us. And the cost of these parts, so here's what I got. I got the guides. You can buy a kit that's like $200 that has everything in it, but then you end up with a timing chain and the gears and all that. We don't need to change that because those parts, you know, they rarely go bad. If you have 400,000 miles on it, sure, change the damn timing chain. But since these are junk and they break all the time, then just change the broken parts and be done with it. On our tensioners, these are called tensioners and they're hydraulic tensioners, so the oil fills this up and it cushions that. They are labeled. This is left. You can see it right there. It has the L on it. I already matched it up. It's fine. What we're going to do is you have the tensioner. I'm going to go ahead and change them and then get to the very end. What do you do with this tab? Don't pull that shit right now. You'll be screwed. You have to put it in a vise. So this is a installation tab. You're going to put it on, put it all together, and then when you're ready, you just pull this tab out and you're done. We'll get to that here in a minute. So let me put all this together. So what I got the timing cover gasket set, some ultra gray, love that stuff, like Frank's hot sauce. I put that shit on everything. This stuff is fantastic. And I'm going to put dabs in the corners. We have seals over here. We're going to use those. And then on the corners, I'm going to use this to seal up the corners of the timing cover and valve cover union. Alright, so let's get back up here. We see, so what we're going to do, we're going to put all our guides on, put everything on, put the new stuff, and then we're going to pull that tab out. Here in a second, you're going to see the new parts go on. Okay, so I went ahead and just did this one side, your left side. Remember, driver's facing forward, driver's left, driver's right. I went ahead and did this side, and then we started to match up parts. Mainly, you have to be very careful. Save yourself a shit ton of problems. You need to match up the parts. While these guides, these are the tensioner guides, they look very close. But if you see, they are not. I've seen so many people put these on and you got one side tight, one side loose because of this gap. So these are different. They all have different part numbers. Pay attention when you have a different part number. So what I was gonna do is, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out and match it up, but oh no, I'm missing a piece. And it didn't fall out on the floor. Can't have any stowaways on this kind of a job. Let's get in here and see. There you are, you punk. Alright, so I'm gonna have to dig that guy out right there. Let me dig that guy out and then get you back on board. And I'm gonna set you up right here so you can see the quick, easy way. I'm gonna go ahead and change. I'm gonna pull these studs out right here, the bolts, and put the new guide in the top and the new tensioner guide on the bottom, and then pull the pin out. That way you can kind of get a see of how it's gonna be. Well, I didn't have total success getting that piece out of there. I mean, I got most of it out. Let's see what we got. That's what it's supposed to look like this. I got these two pieces out. But now we are still missing the bulk of this, and then the rest of this edge. So around here and then the rest of this edge. Good thing is you have a screen on your oil pump. That oil pan's not coming off for that. I'm just gonna let that ride. Probably sitting around there floating on the windage tray, and then eventually it'll land up in the bottom of the oil pan and just live there the rest of its life. And some engine builder is gonna open it up one day and go, "What? Look at this mess, Henry. Wow, I've seen worse than that." All right, so let's get started on the timing chain on the guide. Already broke this side loose here, this top tensioner piece. I'm just gonna use hand tools on this. Just bear with me this boring part. But some of you might be like, I don't know, I put it on, it doesn't look right, or it looks too hard. What's broken off of this, we can't drop it, is the spacer for the tensioner that's missing, the broken spacer. Set that down. Alright, so you got one more down here, and it looks like it's a little boogered up from riding on from the chain bouncing on it. So let me get over here and just tap this socket on it. There we go. It's just a little bit scuffed up from the chain bouncing on it, because it was talking to me for a little bit before I decided to spend a bunch of time on it. So, and we're talking like it was probably, I probably heard this thing break and start making noise only about 400 or 500 miles ago. So any more than that and you made a real mess. This bolt would have been all chewed up, your chain would have been ruined, you had to change your chain. This chain is still really good. I can see this side of it is really good. And plus it doesn't have a lot of miles on it, like I said. Carefully take this out so we don't drop the spacer. Okay, here you go. Hold it up. There it is. We don't want to drop this guy in the engine. Okay, so here comes the new tensioner guide. The new chain guide. So we're gonna put this over here, and you know, you're just gonna slide it in. It's gonna feel a little funky. That's why I said I'm gonna show this boring part. So I'm gonna hold it up and get the easiest bolt, which is the top one. Just line it up. Okay. See? Doesn't seem that hard, does it? Always start them with your fingers and run them in a good ways. You don't have to run them all the way in with your fingers, but get them started really good with your fingers. Now this bottom one here is a little bit trickier because our chain is in the way. We got to get over here, make sure where we are. What I'll probably do is take off the bottom guide. I'm going to take off the bottom first, and that's going to give me a little bit of slack in there. Give me a little slack on the top line. 10 millimeter. Alright, that's loose. That's loose. These might drip a little bit of oil. So there is some tension on them, not a lot. You'll see, it's not gonna pop off. Let me go a little faster. There you go. Just a little bit faster. Okay, you see a little oil sling out. Alright. I'm gonna hold on to these bolts and grab the whole thing So I pulled it down and now I can take it out. Okay? So you see, this is how it works. It pumps oil into here that pushes out this piston, and see how long that piston is. So if you pull that collar, this jumps out. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to carefully pull these two out, stow them up here. Okay, get this guide out. This is just going to slide out. Down here, this pin is just a guide pin. Don't drop your reluctor wheel. See, the whole video would be boring if this is the whole thing. Now I got a little slack. The cam rotated, but whenever I push back on this, it'll pop back in place. So now I can go ahead and get this pin in. Kind of at a blind spot. Where are you? There you go. Alright. Dry my hands. So probably be better if I was laying down on the ground, really, on this side, just to get this one. Alright, get my ratchet. Snug this guy up. These don't have to be stupid tight. Probably about 15, 20 pounds. Okay. Same here. This one. And then what I'm going to do, reach down there and pull my chain up. Okay. Get my tensioner. There you go. So see that? It just popped back in its place. I'm going to let go of that. Get the tensioner. Come over here. Get it lined up with our hole right here, our guide hole. See there? Pull this up. There we go. That's about a boring ass video. I hope you're drinking water or something watching this. Okay, now I'm gonna get my tensioner. Okay, hold that there, get my bolts. Really at a awkward angle. Holes. Almost. I'm gonna have to lay down and get underneath it. Let me do that. Oh, I forgot about this. I already started on the timing cover, the other end. We cleaned it, or I cleaned it. There's no we here today. I went ahead and cleaned this, and it doesn't have to be squeaky clean. Just get off the big chunks because it's just going to get a little dirtier. And I pulled off all the old ones and put in the new ones and then the gasket. So this, you flip the cover over and you push it through. So I just banged on it with a socket and a hammer. You can see that it doesn't matter. And then you turn it over, put it on a flat surface and just tap this in. And how you tap it is, you get a small hammer or whatever, and you need to go like this. You need to hold it square. You're gonna hold it square like this, and then with your other hand you're gonna tap, 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 tap around until it goes down. Don't put it on there and then hit it real hard. It'll pop out on the other side. So just little taps all the way around until you get it in there. But reason why I left this last piece, I left this here, let me sit you down right here if you stay. So I left this last gasket on here because you can't just stuff it in. And then also there is a bottom and a top. Usually the sharp end goes to the gasket the sealing surface. The flatter end goes to the machine surface. You need to lay it out. If you don't lay it out like this and you just start like that and just start tucking, then by the time you get over here, you're gonna have like a big old tail left over. Lay it out till it's all in here, okay? And then just kind of massage it in, just roll it in. It doesn't just snap in like, you know, you think, oh, that's real easy, here I go. So we're just gonna push it in like that. I'm gonna just one-hand it. And then wiggle it in, just like that. It's more tedious stuff, but anyway, so I'm pushing and I roll it, push and roll, push down and roll. Okay, remember what I said about the silicone a few minutes ago? I said you need to use silicone on just the corners and the creases, and also just make sure your line is even all the way around. Otherwise, when you go to press it in, when you go to put it on, these things might roll over and then you have a leak. I'm gonna go show you where the old silicone is on the actual engine. But you can see the leftovers right here. I already scraped this off. These are where the silicone, we put little dabs of silicone here, little dabs in the corners right here, and then here. So right here is where the head is, and there's the valve cover. So this part is the open where the cam phasers are. Here's a good little lesson on being a liberal or a conservative, right? We're not gonna go real liberal with all this poo-poo. And the reason why is because we're gonna use up all of our resources and then a lot of it just gets wasted. So we're gonna be conservative and we're just gonna put a little dab here, just like the factory did. This is where the head surface is. This is the head, this is the block. This is the head surface. We're gonna put just a little dab there just to get in those voids. Like this one, I already kind of broke this one off. And get this, try to get off these little boogers. A little dab of, I like the ultra gray, put that shit on everything. A little dab here, dab, and then down in the corners down there in the corner of the oil pan to block surface. All right, so next is, we'll save all the boring stuff. We'll just set it right here and then come back to you when it's all on, and then we'll talk about it again. All right, so I just wanted to show this. I wasn't planning on recording this, but the cover's clean. You know, like you saw it just a minute ago, it was on the table. We put the new gaskets. It's just loose right now. I put it in its place, and it has dowels. And then the most important thing to do here is don't start your oil pan bolts. Don't start your power steering bolt that's hanging down there. Don't start that. Start all of your lateral bolts first. So all these right here. See these guys? So I'm gonna set this camera down and finish tightening up all these. And then after all these are tight, then you go with your oil pan bolts on the bottom, because this has to be flush to there. And remember what I said about I put the silicone in the joints. Let me see if I can see it. Probably, oh yeah, there's a little bit of it right there. You see that? A little bit of poo-poo in there. So that's gonna be the silicone, and then I'm gonna put a little bit here, and then another on this side, and then the bottom side of this on the other side of the valve cover. Now, like I said before, I already changed the valve covers, so if you're doing this job for the first time and you have the original gaskets on there, you are gonna have to take these guys off. They will come out. You're gonna lift it up, cockeye it a little bit. This one looks the closest, the clearest, but actually had the most trouble getting this off, this side. And then this one here, see, they're all loose right now. They're just loose on there, but they will come out, so you will have to change those gaskets. But like I said, this is a special circumstance where I already did the cam phasers, already did all this stuff 20,000 miles ago, and then now I'm doing that broke ass timing chain guide. All right, let me set you down over here and I'm gonna finish tightening up all this stuff. All right, another nugget. One thing I needed to say is, so we're laying down here, rolling up under. You, just like a head gasket, you don't just wrap this bolt tight and just suck it up. I needed to point this out when you're going back on with this, because I've seen people just split them right down the middle, and you can see on one of my older YouTube pages where on a Lincoln Town Car we did, the whole thing was busted. I mean, that was a 4.6, but it's the same as this 5.4, similar. What you need to do is snug this up, snug that up, just till you suck it in until it's all tight. All right, those are tight, except for my end ones up here. You see these are sticking out, and then the bottom ones right here. Now we have all of our horizontal bolts in. We need to do our verticals, okay? It's gonna be these right here, if we can see them. Can't tell, yeah. So you see those 4 right here. So we need to get those in. They're started right now. Before I tighten these though, I do need to run these tight. So I am going to finish that. I just wanted to bring you down here and show you that. And then also I went ahead and sucked up my 10 millimeter right here. You don't have to take this off. You see that? I just took it off and undid that one bolt. There's not a bolt here because of the line, even though it's threaded. And then the AC compressor is not in the way. I didn't even unplug that. And don't forget to plug in your crank sensor, because you'll probably put it all together and forget that, and then be like, oh God, it won't start, I messed up. But no, you just forgot to plug that in. I mean, it's pretty simple. Oh, and remember, we saw our water pump that's got a little bit of a hiccup on it right there, but I'm broke right now, so I can't afford to spend any more money on this. I can do that later. It's not that hard. And then after I get all those bolts in, then we get these parts right here, the pulleys, and slap those on. Let's get over here and set you down right here and come right back for you. Okay, where were we? Let's get back underneath here, see what's going on. Got out that. Oh, so we do need to get our pulley back on, but first thing, you got to clean that. Before you go shoving it in, you need to clean that up and lube it. Maybe a little bit of, don't scratch it up with like sandpaper or anything like that. You could use like a Scotch-Brite, or go to your kitchen and get one of those Scotch-Brite dishwashing deals. Let's get underneath here and see what we got so far. Alright, we got our, whoa, that was exhausting. Okay, so we have our bolts tight. Listen, don't be one of those fools who doesn't put the clamps back on. Spend a few more minutes and put all these lines back on like they should, because the vibration and chafing and all that will cause it to cause leaks. So many people do. I've fired people for my shop for that. Not putting timing cover bolts back in, the plastic ones that, just dust collectors. Don't forget to plug in your sensor. That guy's plugged in. All our bolts are tight down here. And we have our 10 millimeter back in the hole right there. You see it. All our pulleys are back on. All that. Now we're ready to put on the balancer. That's easy. Clean it and lube it up a little bit so it slides in here. Maybe put a little bit of grease in here. And if you don't have grease, pull the dipstick out, pull the engine oil dipstick out, put some oil on your finger and just rub it on there. You just want that to slide in nice and easy. I'm going to go ahead and get the power steering pulley installer tool set up, and then I will set you right here somewhere so we can see how that goes, because that's a little confusing to some people. So you're going to rent the kit, and I'll show you what it looks like. But when you buy a new tool, when you buy a new power steering pump, it usually comes with a a simple bolt and a nut, and you screw the bolt in and then you tighten the nut on it. Those are terrible. So this has a bearing. That's what makes it all different. So this bearing sits here and it spins on that. So I will show you, this is the Ford tool. This is going to screw into the shaft on the power steering pump, and then this will go on. The pulley's going to be in the middle. You're about to see that. Let me set this down and come back and get it. All right, let's go. Let's get our kit. So first thing we want to do in this little hole right here, we want to kind of clean it out a little bit. If you have an air gun, that's good. I'll put a little paper towel, shoot some WD-40 in there, just to kind of bubble out whatever poo-poo, because the adapter should just screw right in real easy with your fingers. So let's get that guy right here. So this is your holder stud for the installer tool. So that should go in pretty easy, and it is. Very good. Okay, now we get the shaft for the installer tool right here. Put that on there. Okay, so that's on and snug. Then we're gonna get our pulley. Well, looks like I gotta put my pulley on first. Yeah, see? All you like master techs are going, this guy, he's an amateur. He should have put the pulley on first. Wait, man, you can't do that. See, we had to do this because this is in the way. Okay, now here we go again. We're gonna screw this on. And remember, we wanna hold this still. Okay, so now we need our bearing. Let's see here. All right, so here's our bearing. So it slides on, and it makes it easier in theory. Okay, so now this goes on here. All right, so slow and sure. You go slow and sure right here. Now make sure we're pretty square. I'm gonna spin the whole thing. So, I mean, of course, it's not perfect right there, but it will press itself home. So now we have to hold this and turn this. All right, I like to use a 6-point socket, and the reason why is because I don't want any slipping. And then the other end, I'm just going to use an open end wrench because it doesn't have a whole bunch of torque on it. Okay, so now we just crank away. So this is a long-winded, slow process right here. Just like that. Hold this and you turn here. So I'm just gonna stop the camera and pull it back off just like that. So it's probably gonna be about, I don't know, 50 of these. And so we don't need to sit and watch that. All right, real time, that takes about 10 minutes of this. Well, you can't let this move, so we hold that. But we're right there at the line. You gotta hold. Well, let me get this back tight, because you have to periodically loosen this up. Okay, you need to pull this back and check how far you are. Because if you push it too far, which you can go a little bit too far right here, then your belts won't line up. And that's going to make you a squeaking noise. And you're like, I need a new belt. You'll put a new belt on it, and a few miles later it's going to start squeaking, and you just won't understand why. So all belt squeaks are from misalignment or dirt. So you can put a wire wheel on the belt while it's running. Be real careful. Don't lose any fingers or any shit like that. But clean your belt. Don't put any belt dressing or any of that kind of noise, because that's just terrible. But I mean, I don't want to get off on a whole bunch of stuff. But anyway, make sure this is pushed in flush with the shaft. If you can see it in the video right here, the shaft needs to be flush with the pulley. Otherwise, you have an alignment issue with here and here. And then, like sneakers on a like if your belt is not square, it's like this, and that's constantly chirping. I'm gonna crank on that a little bit more, bring this in a little bit, put the belt on, and then get after it. But that's how it works. And then after you get this all on there, then you just unscrew the whole thing, put it all back in the kit. So that's what we're doing right now. Let's go down a little bit more, put the wrench on it, and then put the belt on it. Alright, well, you can see the belt's on. So this is what I'm talking about. Make sure this pulley is flush with this. Now if you go too far in, which you can, which is kind of weird, but the bearing will slide over this a little bit, then get the puller and screw it on there and tug it out just a little bit. That way you have proper alignment between here and here, you know, all this space. Now when you put your belt on, don't just slap the belt on and slide out. Look over really good. Make sure you're sitting on all your places that you need to be, okay? Make sure you're in the grooves, all that stuff, or you're gonna start it up, it throws it off. Let's get up top and wrap it up. Get to the fun stuff in life, because working on your own stuff is, the reward you get from this, besides saving some money, is you get that sense of accomplishment. You know, you go tell your friends, wife, family, whatever, hey look, I fixed it. Maybe this isn't your career, but you're mechanically inclined. Do it. So what's next is I got to put a little poo-poo on here and then gently set these where they're gonna be. Okay, just slow and sure, slow and sure. Save yourself a big oil leak, all this kind of stuff. The best you can, run around this and make sure that your gasket hasn't fallen out of place. You know, with my light, I can look back there and see, you know, you can see right there the little blue sticking out. So that's in place, and then I'll run your hands around the back side down there and just kind of feel it. Just stick your fingers in there, feel it, make sure it's in place. Set this guy right here and get to work. Okay, it's filming now, so we have some light in there. So we put all the valve covers back on, all the wires. This is where you go slow and sure. We put the poo-poo in the corners like I talked about. All the spark plugs, all this stuff. You need to, here, hold that. I got my helper. Say something.
I basically did everything. Basically.
Yeah, basically did nothing but play Fortnite.
Yeah, I basically.
So anyway, what I'm getting at is this gives you the sense of accomplishment. You can say, wow, my dad is so awesome.
I did it.
No, hold on. Just listen to what he says. My dad is so awesome. You can't see him because he's got a mask. My dad is so awesome. He can fix anything. No. Okay, so we need to, well, I don't know if it's fixed yet. So here, hold this, John, while I put it together. Look, keep it, yeah, right there. Okay.
Is this good?
We need an air cleaner. Okay, well, John's got a couple of minutes. He's leaving right now. Okay. Let's put this on here and this on here, and then we got to start it and make sure it's right. And we'll tighten up that in a minute, so you sit right there, John. Let's start it. And then we start it and make sure we don't have any oil leaks or any of that noise. Oh, that's the wrong car. Hold on, let's start the truck. Yay, I did it. My dad is so awesome. Alright, so now we're not spraying oil out anywhere, which that's a good thing. And we're not making a whole bunch of rattly racket. So, good. Alright, we'll clean up, tighten up this stuff, and go fix your own truck.